Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
Hello again. Welcome to another great episode of Foxborough Central. Well, I hope it'll be a great episode. Can't help it be great because I've got two fantastic guests with me today. My name is Bob Hickey, and I think you're really going to enjoy this about local art and how it is in its brand new venue up at Patriot Place. I'd like to welcome at my table today, who didn't bring coffee, I have the coffee, Jack Gannon, who is the Vice President of the Artist Studio and Gallery at Patriot Place.
Well, it's the Vice President of the Foxborough Art Association.
I knew I was going to get that wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
And who's associated with the Artist Studio and Gallery at Patriot Place.
See, what I've done now, folks, is I've given you the catch. Now we're going to spend the next few minutes explaining how I muddled up the opening. Isn't it great? It's magical. It's magical. And then, of course, I also introduced to you old friend Frank Quinn, who you've seen on these channels before many times. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to see you.
Thanks, Bob.
And Jack, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
So, art is personal to everybody, but it's enjoyed by all. It can be discussed, it can be argued about, it can be criticized, but it's very personal to the person who is the artist. And that is my springboard to say, how did you get involved with art? And I'll address to Jack first. How did you get involved with art? And how has this, I assume it's a love. If it's a burden, then it wouldn't be something.
Oh, no, it's a love, of course.
How did this love morph into your running a gallery up at Artist Studio and Gallery at Patriot Place?
Well, it's kind of strange because I have a degree in accounting and a master's degree in finance, so you wouldn't expect someone like me to be running an art gallery. It started basically traveling around the world, and I wanted to bring back the beauty that's out there in the world for my family, friends, and the children in the world in this area that I know to see. And that's how it started, bring back the culture, the people.
Wow.
And from there, it kind of became something where people were saying, can I put that in my living room? Can I put that in my bedroom? Can I put that in my kitchen? Next thing you know, I'm out there displaying my work. And then the general manager of Patriot Place one day said, would you like to open an art gallery at Patriot Place?
He did, and his name is Brian Early.
Brian Early. And
this started, I guess, about 1.5 years ago?
Yes.
Okay. So a little bit later in this program, we're going to show a couple interviews with some guest artists up there, and I think folks will find that very interesting. But it gave me the opportunity to go up to Patriot Place and visit the art gallery. And I got to tell you, it is a very nice place to visit. It's right there. You're next to the Dunkin' Donuts, behind the movie theater, next to the Olympia Sports, and that whole restaurant corner as you overlook stadium. So it's a great location, and you must get a lot of foot traffic coming in.
Yes.
In fact, I'm going to share this. When we were up there, some people came in, and you actually sold a piece of work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, I love seeing that because it shows that not only is it alive, but it's commerce. There's a way for artists to monetize their talent and time, and to reinforce them to go forward and do more. So that's beautiful.
I think the important thing too is that Patriot Place gave us the gallery for free.
Yes.
There is no overhead, there is no cost. Well, we have to replace light bulbs and miscellaneous kind of costs. So there's no pressure to sell because there's no overhead, there's no commissions, no nothing. So when somebody does come in and buy something, it's always fun, it's always thrilling because we're not really there so much to sell as we are to exhibit and to support the local artists.
Now, speaking of local artists, so you, of course, you're both are with the Foxborough Art Association, and that has been a local institution for upwards of 50 years now?
Over 50.
Over 50 years. So, and for those of us who have had meetings in the basement of the Boyden Library, we of course have seen the work around, of course, the wonderful program they did with the late B.J. Bork on cable access. So we have been exposed to Foxborough Art Association. So without being too highfalutin saying it's a symbiotic relationship, how does Foxborough Art Association and the artist studio at Gallery Place work? It's a codependency, but it's more of a opportunity where the gallery exhibits, displays, and promotes Foxborough Art Association, but there are other groups that come in as well. So
Yes,
you're not tied in completely, but at the same time, it's a wonderful venue and sort of a partnership.
Right.
Okay.
Basically what it is, it's, you know, we do a lot for the Foxborough Art Association. There's a place where they can come in, they can show their art. We really give somewhat preference to the Foxborough Art Association for them to come in, the artists come in to have their time in their weekend. We do paint outs at the gallery, which involve a lot of artists from the Foxborough Association. So it's a very good joint relationship.
So you have that relationship, and then I understand you also have guest artists that come in.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
In fact, when I was, well, explain the guest artist program.
Well, the
please.
goal of the gallery really is not to support necessarily the Foxborough Art Association, but to support local artists.
Yes.
Which happens to include a large segment.
Well, certainly because most local artists are.
So, but the one qualification that we have for the guest artists is that they also be local. You know, within 20 minutes of drive, let's say, you know. So we will have people from northern Rhode Island there, and people, we once had an artist from South Boston there, and we were kind of, well, I don't know, but then we saw his art and we said, okay, we'll let him in. But, so the guest artist program, what it is we allow up to 3 guest artists every weekend to be there on a rotating basis. And then there are 7 anchor artists who are there on a continuing basis every weekend. And so what the guest artist allows us to do is to freshen up the gallery every weekend so that for repeat strollers, public who come in, they see a different show basically every weekend.
Well, that's a great idea. And right now what we're going to do is we'll take a minute and let's go talk to one of the guest artists.
Great.
One of the artists appearing, or I shouldn't say appearing, but displaying at the Artist Studio at Patriot Place is Kristen Temple. Kristen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, you know, the thing that fascinates me about art is the people who do it are, you know, normal, everyday people. You, I assume, work for a living?
I do, yes.
So how did you get into art?
You know, actually I've been in it ever since I was a kid. I would mainly sketch and do drawings then, and once I went to college, I kept with it, and I discovered I could paint then. That's when I first started, and then I just kind of kept with it over the years.
So where'd you go to college at?
Actually in South Jersey.
Okay, so did you go to school for art, or?
No, not at that point, because I was still trying to remain open to different things out there, but I ended up sticking to it. So.
Okay, so you've been an artist now for?
I guess you could say 31 years.
Wow, that's great. So you must be pretty good at it. And how did you end up here in Foxborough?
Actually, I just moved up recently from Jersey about 6 months ago.
Okay.
And I relocated for my other job. And then one of my coworkers shows here all the time. So he told me about it, and I was very interested. And here I am.
Well, we'll be meeting him later on in the show. So let's take a look at some of your art if we can, because I was looking at it, and I hope people at home can see that she's got beautiful greenish eyes. And all of your art scenes, in fact, your business cards that say Kristen L. Temple, all have these eyes. It's all about the eyes. So maybe you can share with me the 3 pieces that we have here seem to focus on the eyes. Which one would you like to look at first? Okay.
This one, I was just going for more of like a flat painting because I get into the blending a lot usually, so this was kind of different for me. And I just went with complete straight edges, but I still wanted a piece that would, you know, come across strong.
Well, the colors are fantastically different from what I would have expected to see, but it all seems to work, and again, the focus is on that eye. So, and then this one up above has a different vibe completely, and yet the focus is still on the eyes. It actually looks like a self-portrait, sort of, does it not?
It does, yes, you're correct. It is. Yeah, this one I was just trying to go for something, obviously a little more flow to it, completely different composition.
Well, it's a beautiful painting, and very Would look great on anybody's living room wall, I'm sure. And we're here at the Artist Studio at Patriot Place. And all of these works that are done, not only by you, but by the other artists, they're all local. So you displaying here, do you display in other places, or is this your primary studio?
So far, this is my primary one up here.
So if somebody wants to see Kristen Temple, they have to come here to Patriot.
That's right here.
Okay, and then there's one other piece up here, so if we could take a look at that one. I see this one is yet another, I don't want to say vibe because it's probably the wrong word, but it's almost searing as far as how you're looking at it. So why don't you share that with us?
Yes. Well, this one, I started out more of a process painting. Most of the painting is actually the underpainting. It's just a lot of my medium mixed with one color, the black. Sorry. And then I decided to add more detail towards the eye and add more color to it.
Well, I'm not sure I understood everything what you said, but it sounded great. And I would have to say that when it comes to art and Crystal Temple, the eyes have it. So the only place to see Kristen is to come up to Patriot Place, to the Artist Studio. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend a little bit of your talent and show with us, and everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a great interview. Welcome back. And you know, in talking to Kristen, it seems as though she has a great talent. I went to her website also and was looking at some of her other work, and she has a very unique style.
Yeah, she does.
She does a lot of people, bodies, faces, and beautiful work in the eyes. Yes.
Yes.
But I thought she has one wonderful painting of a father and son sitting on a sofa with the angle over the shoulder. So she's very talented. It was nice being able to meet her. And so you had mentioned earlier that you have the guest artists and you also have the regulars. And now the regulars, and for those of you who haven't been up there yet, go to Patriot Place. It is the Artist Gallery, Studio and Gallery at Patriot Place. I knew I was going to get that wrong at some point. The Artist Studio and Gallery at Patriot Place is located between the Dunkin' Donuts and the Olympia Sports. Down in the restaurant section of Patriot Place. So very easy to find, very attractive sign. It's wide open space. And you're open at what time?
Just on the weekends, Friday 5 to 9, Saturdays 1 to 9, and Sundays noon to 6.
Okay, so on the weekends that'd be the time to go up, catch a movie, catch a meal, and check out some local art. So we had talked about the regulars, if you will. And Jack, you're a regular up there, and I saw a lot of your work hanging on the wall. Folks should go up there and see very talented folks here. Frank Quinn. And you also have Lars Angetti and Ann Gorbett and Polo Barrera and Jerry Aces and Donna McClure.
That's right. Very
it's
good.
Amazing when I can do when I read my own handwriting. I'm very talented at this.
And the interesting thing about each of them is they have their own unique style. Yes. So that when you go up there, you're seeing very different styles and approaches. Donna and Jerry are both watercolorists. Jack is the photographer. I do oil paint. Ian and Polo do oil paint, but they're very different. And Lars Angetti. And they each have a different approach and a very unique style, which I think really lends itself to folks coming in and sort of being entertained visually by the eclectic nature of the work.
I got to tell you, when I was up there meeting you folks and looking, getting a tour of the studio and doing the interviews, I couldn't help but notice that you have a packed space, but it looks clean and open. You've done a great job of organizing and figuring out how to maximize the space and yet make it a very attractive, not overwhelming area. So, and it's very kid-friendly also. I was just impressed with not only the different types, but also the different styles. In fact, there was one guest artist up there who was, I guess you call it pop art?
Yeah, well, yeah, he called
that what he called?
I think so. He's a sculptor and a designer, but he's very much into pop art and popular culture. And
great artist.
And that would be Steve Gollin. He lives here in Foxborough?
Yeah, he's a Foxborough resident, yep.
That's great. So why don't we take a few minutes and meet him?
Sounds good.
All right. Does Gary want me to sing now? I got a
Steve was such a ham. You know,
I'm
as
sure he
the
was.
camera comes on, he's dimples and, you know, smiling. And,
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about Steve or Kristen?
Yeah, Steve.
Steve.
Oh.
Yeah. What's interesting about Kristen was her.
Okay, and we're back. Well, so from what I'm able to see is you've got a very energetic, dynamic, visually pleasing location, group of people, and the whole feel of it is, wow, this is really cool. Where am I wrong on this?
Why you're wrong? Well, actually, what we wanted was, when we started this gallery, was someplace that was fun, relaxing, and enjoyable for not only the people coming in, but for ourselves as well. Okay, we didn't want to be stuffy. We didn't want a lot of rules. We wanted a professional gallery, but we wanted to be fun. We wanted it for families, and that's where really I think the atmosphere comes from.
Yep.
I'll give you an example of one thing that I saw coming through. At one point, we usually have artists painting inside as well.
Okay.
Okay, you can get any given weekend, you're going to see 1, 2, 3 artists painting.
Wow.
Okay, which is fantastic. Well, we had a group of, this was back a few months ago, we had a group of about 5 teenage girls come through. They're about 12 years old. Frank's painting outside, he's doing a North End scene. Ann Gorbat's painting inside, she uses the palette knife to paint. And the girls were very impressed with both what was going on. They're going back and forth, probably about 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, one of the girls looks at Frank and she says, "What's it like to paint something so beautiful?" Oh. And Frank turned to her, he kind of melted, and he turned to her and he handed her the brush. And he says, "You can find out for yourself." And she walked up and she was nervous at first, but next thing you know, she's painting away.
Really?
You know, those kind of things do happen once in a while in the gallery. We had another situation where we had an artist in there, and this young family came through. Now he's almost through with his painting. He's going to paint he spent 2 hours, 3 hours painting this painting. He's almost through with it. And this young family comes in. Next thing I know, these 5- and 6-year-old girls are up there with the brushes painting away in his painting. You know, and he looked at me and he says, "This is what I live for. I love this." Excellent. You know, to bring art to the young children.
Excellent.
You know, so those are the kind of things that do happen at the gallery.
Very nice. So, did they improve the painting, or did you?
Well, the nice thing about oil painting is you can always fix it, you know. So no, she was drawing a straight line, and this is, you know, by a girl who said she can't draw straight lines, but she did, and I was impressed with her confidence, you know.
I remember telling her too. I remember saying, "Someday your art will be up on these walls."
Yeah, yeah.
Well, just the variety of medium up there is interesting. How do I phrase this question? How do you think it is an extension of what you're really trying to accomplish or maybe I should rephrase it this way. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do up there?
Well, there's a couple of things we want to do. One is we want a place where the patrons of Patriot Place can come in, view art, and view some very good art, and just kind of relax for a few minutes. You're shopping, you're eating, now it's a whole different atmosphere. Someplace where they can enjoy, and that's what we want it for. At the same time, we want it for the local artists. We want a place where the local artists don't have places to show their art. Mm-hmm. We want a place where the local artists could very inexpensively show their art. And I mean, we've had probably well over 200 artists in a year and a half that have been there, wow, showing their art there.
So with the Foxborough Art Association being the, I guess we'll call it the host organization up there, has that worked out well for FAA?
Oh, I think so. I think so. And what's really amazing, as Jack says, 200, amazing is how much local talent there really is. I mean, and I think we continue to be amazed by people that we haven't heard of who come in and do beautiful work. So that it has worked out well. Everybody at Foxborough Art Association is aware of the gallery and aware that they can display. The big problem is, do they have the inventory? Do they have the sufficient work to fill that? Yeah, to fill that wall. And but they're excited, and they're also excited when we do the art show later in the month. That they really have the opportunity to be there and to really show their talent to the general public.
So then with the general public coming in, there's no admission, of course.
No.
People can come in, browse around. They don't have to buy something.
Oh, no.
No, it's an art gallery.
No.
It's an art gallery.
Like I said, we're fun, relaxing, and enjoyable.
However, there are, the works are for sale.
Yes.
And if folks are looking for a nice piece of local art for their living room or...
Yep, and because there's no commission and there's very little overhead, the prices are very reasonable too.
Excellent, excellent. So if I were taking my family up to Patriot Place this weekend and I were going, how would I get there, and what is the telephone number, and what is the contact information, and if I wanted to find out more, where would I go, what would I do?
Well, we're open on the weekends. We're located behind the cinema. We do right around the corner from Godiva Chocolate and 2 doors down from Dunkin' Donuts.
Very good.
Within sight of Gillette Stadium. So it's not hard to find. We're there Friday evenings, Saturday afternoon and evenings, and Sunday afternoons. And we also have a blog that you can hook onto, art gallery at patriotplace.blogspot.com. But you can Google Art Gallery at Patriot Place and find out our hours and the specifics and who the guest artists are going to be, etc.
Excellent, excellent. And if I'm a guest artist and I want to maybe have an opportunity to display my work, I just stop by and I talk to the folks? And
Exactly. Talk to one of the artists that are there, and they'll let you know how you take care of it. It's very simple. Yep, works out very well. And we've had artists come in, and for whatever reason, we have an opening the following weekend. They're there the very next weekend, sometimes.
Wow.
I mean,
and I got, time, this is the fastest half hour in television, but if there's one thing that you wanted to share with everybody in Foxborough land about the artist studio and gallery at Patriot Place, I love that name, what would it be?
it would probably be, once you discover us for the first time, you want to come back again and again.
Really? Well, I got to tell you, I've really enjoyed visiting the gallery. I will be bringing the family back up. I know my son had a good time up there as well. And so it's a great place for everybody to come up. If you're looking for art to buy, if you just want to get a piece of local culture and see what's going on in the Foxborough Art Association, I would say the great place to do would be the Artist Studio and Gallery at Patriot Place, behind the cinema, next to Dunkin' Donuts. Frank, Jack, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in and taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. My thanks to Director Gary Nash and everybody who puts this show on. Paul Gookin, Bob Lomas, Betty Travers, Michael Weber, our Executive Director. Foxborough Cable Access works because of our volunteers. If you would like information on how to join the growing FCA team or would like to obtain a DVD of today's program at a nominal charge, please contact Foxborough Cable Access at 508-543-4757 or look us up online at www.fcatv.org. Until next time, I'm Bob Hickey. Thank you for watching Foxborough Central. Have a good one.